G'day everyone. Happy Military Occupation Day. It's the 113th anniversary of the Hague 4 coming into effect. I wish I had something nice to talk about, but I don't. I thought I should talk about some things for those that haven't been paying attention. I will start with what's coming up, just around the corner really. Some of which we were warned about 3 years ago by myself and for the past 12 years by Stephen Spires. Many seem to have ignored the warnings, and now it's about here. Are you familiar with the World Health Organization? I will just quickly summarize some of what they want to do, because there are already enough people covering it in some detail if you have a look. So now it looks like they are finally ready to go for a big power grab, as it's been put. 194 member states, including Australia, will be adopting amendments to the international health regulations. The proposed amendments will make the World Health Organization's proclamations legally binding for all member states. They have used words such as punishment and forced vaccinations for people in countries that don't comply. It's only a matter of time until they are implemented under legislation in Australia. There is also talk of adopting a new international agreement referred to as the proposed Pandemic Treaty. There will also be a global digital health certificate, also known as a vaccine pass or passport. These changes will enable the World Health Organization to force medical procedures and injections and force people to regular testing. It will enable countries to implement new laws and bypass any consideration in respect of dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedoms of the citizens. Not that they had any anyway. In fact, those words don't exist in their proposed amendments. They have been purposefully left out, meaning they won't consider those things in any future pandemics. It is also planned to dramatically increase the already billions of dollars available to the World Health Organization, and there is more coming. It's been revealed. Some people have even stated profusely that government wouldn't do what they have already done, but they have. You can't deny it. Some politicians have been trying their best to inform citizens and to try to block such changes to no effect. In fact, some, if not most of the legislation passed is done in an empty or near empty sitting when it was time to vote. Let's face it, lockdowns alone were terrible on citizens, and there are more coming, trust me. There will be forced vaccinations for those that haven't already been vaccinated, and I mean take you away forced. I am being blunt for a good reason. It won't be like last time, where there were mandates forced on citizens. No, it will be much worse. They will physically hold you down and give you the jabby. Believe me, it's coming. But in all honesty, we knew these things were coming years ago, because these people have been conspiring for decades and things have gotten out here and there. It doesn't take a genius to put two and two together. It doesn't matter who is in power, supposedly elected. They are all working for the same team. They will implement these things no matter how many of you get together and protest or whine by petition, because you have no lawful voice as citizens. You are not a people, nowhere near a people. Let's be realistic here. Most of you are just talking about the problems amongst yourselves. Very few have or are standing up. I see very few federal red ensigns flying proudly. I see very few people talking about how this is able to happen in the first place. That being that the people gave up being the people by taking citizenship to a foreign power, which is the cause of all your problems. All the people talk about are the symptoms of the problem, and now you're all running out of time. Some are panicked because they see this, but it's because you didn't do anything but whine. Still not doing anything but whining at the Australian government. What is it going to take for you to comprehend administration and military occupation? What is it going to take for you to stand up instead of just taking it and letting it happen? What is it going to take for you to say no more? I'm curious, I really am. They have poisoned you and worse, which I'm not going to get into right now because I just don't know enough about it, but I will say they have edited your DNA. And your children too. And the WEF or WEF partners are about to completely take over the country and own you and your children like cattle. So what's it going to take? It's disturbing that so many choose to follow what they have been told, even though it's clearly wrong. It's like watching the Jews quietly getting into cattle cars for the last time. Seriously. For those that have stood up with their federal red ensign, thank you. We still need to grow though. We will have a voice soon, and a loud one at that, I promise you. Operation Accountability is a go. We are working on it. It will be very hard for the Australian government to ignore it. We have what we need on court record. Court records don't lie. Matthew Reason from the Fixated Persons Unit in New South Wales did us all a great big favour. I don't know if he realises it or not at the moment, but he certainly will. It will become evident soon enough. It's just a matter of Stephen putting it all together, and I know he can from what I've seen. But most importantly, we need people behind it. Otherwise it will be ignored and go nowhere. And I don't mean citizens, I mean a people. The people of the Kingdom of Australia. Our occupiers have broken many of their own rules, and it's time to hold them to account under their own rules as a people. These rules have serious consequences. They are war crimes. If you haven't already, join us and fly the red instead, like you mean it. Honour your kingdom's fathers, the Anzac. Stand on your foundations, and of course, defend it. I want you all to understand something that's very important here. All Prime Ministers since Whitlam, Albo included, they are not the ones committing treason. They switched sides and made an oath to be on that side, by choice. The people, by boarding a foreign vessel taking citizenship to a foreign entity known as Australia, committed treason. The people gave up their God and birthright as naked owners of the Commonwealth. The people became citizens to a foreign power under a foreign St. Edward's crown. That's the bottom line. If you haven't already, it's up to you to change that for yourself. No one can do it for you. No one, not even Stephen, is going to change things for you. It's up to you to stand up, united as a people. We must do it together. United families defending each other, defending your foundations and kingdom, and in that you will find you have a voice against your occupier. A king and a kingdom is only as strong as its defenders.